Welcome back. We're talking to Stan Pajak, who is the leader of the Liberal Democrats on the council at Swindon Borough Council. Stan, we were talking about the Mechanics Institute. We've had a good chat about that. Wi-Fi, what's your view on this?
Well, unfortunately, it was one of those great things that never was. I mean, the idea, when we all remember the launch, it actually made the news, actually on the TV, the radio, the idea actually Wi-Fi across Swindon, the reduced rates, and actually even free Wi-Fi at a certain time during the day. It sounded so good. And then, well, it was free. It was oddly enough free over only a certain period of the day, so it wasn't such a great thing as we were led to believe. But it made news, and obviously it was a very advanced idea, and Swindon tended to be in the lead, so there's big TV coverage. And then the problems happened, the amount of investment there, control and that, and since then it's been going down and down and down. And it's almost become to the stage now it's almost become an embarrassment to the council. And every time we have a scrutiny meeting, it's always there, the idea of asking where the money's gone, how it's been controlled. And obviously, even the directorship now, with Ricky Hunt pulling out, there is wonders about the whole thing. So it hasn't been the success story that Swindon hoped.
Did the council actually take Ricky's shares?
Yes, they did, I think. In the last meeting, I think that was the case. I could be wrong, but I believe that he actually gave them away. He gave his shares, he gave them away.
But why would you take them? Because if there are debts, that means that following the £450,000 which has been invested, if there are debts which have been accrued due to the operation of this, you are responsible now for 60-odd%, or 70% of that now?
Well, there is the belief that obviously it will not fail, and obviously the assets are there to cover these. I mean, the idea was that the council should never throw itself into problems like these, i.e. that becomes actually the holder of actually the debts. So my hope is actually that those financial regulations are in existence. But I'm not an expert.
Okay, from your point of view, who was it who assessed the project and said, we think the council should invest this money?
Well, very clearly it was the administration, because I must admit it came to...
Who? Not the general term. Who? The person. Let's put a name to these.
Well, that's you can hypothesise that obviously it was actually the leadership of the council or the leader of the council, but I can't put my tick against it and say that's a definite. But the thing was that I, as leader of the opposition groups, was not aware of all this, so it was done without the council's backing. And I think that's really what caused the real problem, i.e. the council was not part of the decision making, and therefore everything was like an after event. The scrutiny of the decision, the financial regulations, everything came after, not before. And the reason for that was actually to, if I recall, actually they wanted to go and make it dramatic, so Swindon became the first to do it. So there was reasons for that, but
Swindon wasn't the first to do it, was it? Norwich had tried it.
Norwich had tried it. It's true.
And strange enough, it failed there, didn't it?
It failed. It did fail. Yeah. But I mean, the idea was, the idea was actually, in a sense, actually was top notch. In the sense, obviously, the idea is very clever. The actual implementation has always been difficult. But, it was sold that way, and it was sold to be that Swindon was the leader in this.
So when it was launched in that November 2009, were the two opposition parties, the Lib Dem and Labour, you didn't know about it until it was announced?
No, not really, no. So it was news to us as well. And I think I saw it was on BBC television or something like that, and that was the big launch. So we were not part of it, and therefore, obviously, became critics, as you can see from all the meetings that came after it.
Again, if you'd been leader of the party, if you had been in charge, would you have gone with that?
No.
Why?
Oddly enough, I don't know about you, but I've actually got Wi-Fi and all sort of things, so it doesn't really sell it to me, and I just wonder the benefits of it for across Swindon. So, I mean, there talks about benefits actually of free Wi-Fi, and then people would come here and use it, but I don't think the benefits do that, because most people actually are part of... You've got an internet system, haven't you?
Yes.
I have too. Most people have, so it doesn't sell itself greatly to a lot of people. So the sale was always going to be a difficult thing, because people do have a system, unless it's incredibly much cheaper or giving incredibly much more benefits. The take-up was always going to be less than actually they initially proposed.
Do you think, Stan, it was sort of cards on the table in terms of the whole thing? It was just a bad business idea? As you said, everyone would have Wi-Fi anyway.
Yes, well, I'll give you a non-politician's answer. Yes.
That's good. That's what we want.
Well, that's thrown us. We weren't prepared for that.
We can just go home now, can't we?
Yes. Yeah. But, I mean, so that brings me on to another side then, because this has been through scrutiny. I don't know, the arguments are between three, and we can't even agree how many times it's been through scrutiny. No. We hear it's been through scrutiny 3 times, we hear it's been through scrutiny 6 times.
Yeah.
How can we not know if it's gone through scrutiny?
Yeah, well, it has been through scrutiny at least 3 times, and more than that, because it keeps reoccurring. And if anything, I mean, I think it's actually said at the time that this constant referral to scrutiny has damaged people's expectations and people's willing to invest in it, because it has been soiled. I mean, the thing is, would you buy soiled goods? No, you'd be reluctant, wouldn't you? And that's the problem.
Why does taking it through scrutiny soil it? Why does taking it through scrutiny stop the rollout? Why does taking it through scrutiny stop somebody taking it on as their preferred supplier?
It is because I think it keeps the questioning actually its viability and actually its continuation. So when something keeps getting questioned, people do have worries. In a market system like we have in ourselves, any sort of worries about its future, and that is always going to cause problems of investment and everything else. So that constant referral and constant news stories, but always news stories in the bad sense, wouldn't help selling a product. It's like if you were selling, I don't know, a wonderful curing drink, and I suddenly had health worries about it, you wouldn't be able to sell that curing health drink, would you? And it's just those questions have always been there, and therefore...
But nobody said it doesn't work.
No.
Nobody said that this curative health drink doesn't give curative benefits. Nobody has actually turned around and say, look, I've tried it, the darn thing doesn't work. Because it does work.
It does. It hasn't worked as hoped for, as is in the Highworth example, hasn't quite succeeded. So it's still, unfortunately, still trying to make its success story, which it hasn't achieved. So it still remains this area of doubt.
Do you think, Stan, it will get to a point after that there's a period of consultation with an investor at the moment that some of the councillors are bound by signing an agreement, I think, at the last meeting?
Yeah.
Once that period is over with, which I think is just after the election in May, do you think then, as you said about the mechanics, it comes to a point where you've got to decide we just have to go with an investor, or we just wind it up? It has to be. It can't drag on for so long.
I think so, because you reach certain times where if you just drag on, it's just money going nowhere, and you look hopeless.
And the image thing that you said before.
Yeah,
well,
an image is crucial. So yes, I think it would be critical, and obviously it happens after the election, so that's
which is handy for those
isn't it?
Yeah, directly involved. Yeah.
Well, possibly being a little bit controversial here, I'm going to say we're all wrong, because it's been through scrutiny so many times and been proven to be a good idea.
You could say that.
Once again, we'll put out our appeal for anyone listening to us via the Wi-Fi in Highworth to ring us. Yeah,
that's right.
Which we never get.
I mean, scrutiny itself, is it robust enough for the 21st century?
No, and the logic to that is actually when you have a council such as Swindon, which has such a big Conservative majority, scrutiny is made up of the councillors that reflect the political dimensions of the council, and therefore scrutiny always will have more of the ruling group. So any decisions it make will have a certain political influence on it there. Would you actually, if you're a Conservative member, would you criticise your leadership, willingly? No, you wouldn't. So scrutiny doesn't work because of the political makeup of the council, it is actually a big majority for the administration. So I don't think scrutiny does work in this sense.
How much does scrutiny cost per year?
It's a good question, but I don't know the answer. A reasonable amount, I'd imagine, but I don't know the answer.
So it's a reasonable amount simply to rubber stamp what has been done previously before. Is that what you're saying?
It can be done that way. It's only when it's non-controversial items you would probably have that scrutiny may work in that fashion. The trouble is with the cabinet system, it doesn't allow more members to have a role in all this. That's why I'm against the cabinet system.
Let's have a look at the vision for the future then, for that you see as a Liberal Democrat. What would you like to see being done in Swindon?
Well, Swindon is a great place to live, and it needs to be that needs to be reflected in the physical makeup of Swindon. The idea of investment in the town centre. I mean, we are starting to do that now. It's actually trying to bring it together to make sure the development is done correctly. The idea of actually more power to the local people. Again, the idea of local committees actually with strength of power to get things done for the local areas. So you actually take power to its lowest denomination, so the people make more decisions. Funny enough, the referendum is an example of this, the alternative vote. I mean, the idea behind that is trying to give people more power. And again, in an ideal system, we'll have the chance to vote for local elections as well. So you could have a preference political party or a preference actually for the person you think who does a good job. So that, again, is the idea of fairness, trying to get more fairness to
Well,
people.
what